Hello guys and welcome back, and yes, this time I've remembered the mic. Apologise if I haven't got it set up right. It doesn't give you very clear instructions, but it is a bit windy, so I hope it reduces the noise. There's meant to be buttons you press for this, that and the other, and I can't seem to fathom it out. So hopefully it sounds okay, and if it does, let us know. News guys, some news. More additions to the fleet. This is not a purchase on the lines of because I want to so much, it's because I need to. I need to save this car. I don't want it to go to somebody to get abused, and unfortunately it was just sitting there going to waste, and it was, to be honest, breaking my heart, and it needed a little bit of work done. And I've gathered there's a few pointers on this which will go around now of why I want to have this car to use over the summer. There's a few reasons to it which we'll get into. So just to let you know, just so it's not a surprise, it's a car that's already featured on the channel, but more than a year ago now, 18 months ago. And of course, I'm getting it back. Now for me, I always would rather get a car back that I know is good than going out buying a lemon, basically. There was, between this car and another car, I'll tell you what it was very nice, but there was some very nasty looking advisories. This car, I know is absolutely solid, but it does need some work done to it, which is why I've took it on as a project. And after I get it up and running, I'm debating just keeping it on the fleet over the summer to run by everything else. And also I'm actually going to give it to Holly to use when she hasn't got the dogs in her car, so she's got something with work and air conditioning. I'll be honest, her car, it's beyond fixing the aircon on that. And at the minute, when we're cold, we don't care less about aircon, but it is nice to have on those really hot days. So anyways, let's excuse the wind noise there. For some reason it's picking up badly. A massive gust just came there, so I apologise if this doesn't sound great. Can't be helped. So what is it? What have I gotten back? Yes, it's the Spanish C230 Kompressor. Well, it's not Spanish actually. It was originally registered in the UK in 2002. Do a reg check, you'll see, but it's actually never had an MOT up until about 3 years ago. I think it's only actually had 3 UK MOTs. But what it has got are all the Spanish ITVs from when it was MOT'd, ITV'd in Spain. Just in case anybody doesn't know, an ITV is an MOT, a 2-yearly check within Spain. That's what they do. And that is it back. It has stood since November in a front yard on the side of a main road, so it's very grotty looking. Obviously the bonnet's not latched up, and we've got some work to do to it. Let's have a quick walk round, and I want to do some befores and afters, and I am going to try to just briefly, I'm not going to do it in depth, I just can't be bothered with doing that, show you some of the work that we're doing to it. So yeah, have a look on the reg. You'll all see that this car has not been in the UK since it was about 2 to 3 years old. Then it went to Spain, and then it stopped in Spain ever since. Hence, if you look at the rear arches on it, there is no rust. That isn't rust, by the way, guys. That's wax oil, what I put on it when I had it. All along the doors, there's not a single scab, not a single bit of rust, and I will show you underneath. It is like a 3-year-old car. What I am going to do with my new sander, like polisher, clean these headlamps up. To be honest, the whole car might look okay on the photos, the video, but it's very deeply ingrained with just dirt, so we're going to give it a good machine polish as well as the wheels as well, just with it standing. The brakes are all actually brand new on this car. Get those wheels nicely cleaned up and get it sorted. But yeah, absolutely no rust. When do you ever see a 2002 Mercedes with no rust? Little marks here and there, of course there is. Some of them will probably polish out, but yeah, absolutely, that isn't rust, by the way, it's just a bit of muck. Absolutely no rust whatsoever anywhere on it. And just in case you don't know, or if you haven't watched my videos, the C230, it's not a 2.3, it's a 1.8. They do a C180, a C200 and a C230 compressor. They're all supercharged 1.8. The C180 is a low-tuned version, the C200 is a mid-tuned version, and the C230 is the top-tuned version with 200 brake horsepower. And it is rather nice rear-wheel drive. How many little coupes this size do you get which are rear-wheel drive? Not many. And the other good thing about it is it's actually got a fully fitted Mercedes detachable tow bar. I don't know if you can see that, but that's it there. Brand spanking new. I don't know where it is, it's somewhere within the boot. Oh, Simon, I think he's forgot some footballs. I'll have to give him those back. And he's left these vacs carpet thing. I'm going to have to let them know about that. But yeah, that's in there. Proper detachable Mercedes tow bar. I'm not going to try and pull it out, but it's there. So that's absolutely perfect for when we come to do the towing. I'll just pull this boot down. It does always worry me when I've got me ML. As we know, she's getting an old girl now, and God forbid if anything happened to it before a trip when it's all booked and paid for, or during a trip, or just as we're about to leave the site and something stupid happens to the car, and then we've got nothing else on the fleet. Even that XC90, which is going very soon because my dad's new car's coming, that hasn't. It has got a tow bar, but someone's took the thing off, actually damaged it so bad that it will never be able to have it. You'll have to change the whole bar behind the bumper. So that hasn't got it. None of my dad's cars have got it. Mine haven't. None. The A6 or nothing's not got it. Holly's car's not got it. Clearly not the ZX. So I'll be knackered. So number one reason why I want this car to hang around over the summer is just in case we have any problems. It's a backup. Before you used to go, oh, that's a tiny little car, Dan. That won't tow your caravan. That's the difference, you see. It's a W203. This is just a normal C-Class, just with the back end chopped off. But it still has all the big Brembo brakes on the back, dual piston Brembo brakes, and quite large for the size of the car, front discs, and it all goes off brake weights. And this can actually tow, don't quote us exactly, between 1,800 and 2,000. That's between 1.8 and 2 tonne. That'll tow my car. Obviously nowhere near as good as my ML does, but it's perfect, absolutely perfect as a backup. And it's the absolute least car I would have ever thought I would have as a backup for a tow car. But it's automatic, it's 200 brake horsepower. I'll certainly do it in an emergency situation. To be honest, I just get a little bit over the top. I'm used to the ML towing up to 3.5 tonne, so I never tow near the limits ever. But in this case, I would use this car as just purely an emergency backup car to have. And like I mentioned, it's got fully working air conditioning, so I'm just going to let Holly use it, and I'll use it on and off when I haven't got the dogs. It's a perfect little car to have around. It doesn't eat no meat. It's lovely to drive, pleasant car to drive, lovely to be in. And like I said, we'll have a quick look around the interior. I'll show you. It's absolutely, well, immaculate for a two. You know, it's got 120 something thousand mile on. None of the door cards hanging off. No marks or nothing on the seats, full leather. It's the Evolution edition, so you get the full Evo roof, full glass panoramic roof right down to the back. Lovely. Like I've mentioned, for a 2002 car, it really doesn't look that dated at all. It really does still look modern enough. Now I've got some bits and bobs in there, we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, it's only downside, seats a little bit on the firm side, but I tend to find that with most Mercedes and BMWs for some reason. That's probably just me being picky. We'll have a quick look under the bonnet, I'll show you. In fact, I want the bonnet open anyways when I get into explaining what's what. So there we go, it's just a 1.8 4-cylinder. We've got a great big supercharger here underneath. That's your pulley for it. Bar that, lovely and simple. No turbo in the way, no nothing. Just mainly all the governs is at the front of the engine. Still got an intercooler down there. Lovely. Like I said, it's got the nice automatic gearbox, smooth as you like. But we have got some bits and bobs. So first up, I'm going to do a little bit on the seats. Second up, the seats are fine. I just want to bring them back to life a bit more. We've got this 3-in-1, so it's like a cut, gloss and wax. It's like a cut and compound all in one. I'm going to go around the car and do some bits around it, but mainly the first place I'm going to put it on are these and get these nicely shined up. It's probably the only thing I don't like about these pre-facelift ones. I prefer the dash on the pre-facelift, but I don't like these headlamps, but there's nothing you can do about it. I'm most certainly not going to change them for the facelift ones because it would just look naff. It probably wouldn't work either. So that's that anyways. That's what I'm going to do. But mechanically wise, last year it had the full works. Oil, air, pollen, fuel, iridium plugs, you name it. So this year, I'm not going to go mad. Like I keep telling you, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to do a nice oil and filter change. Get some genuine Mercedes oil. Got the genuine man filter here. Now, there's some ceramic polish there. We all know that's good stuff. And I've got a clear bar mitt. And we've got our Miller's fuel additive to put a bit in because I only run this car on 199 premium E5 fuel. You don't have to. It's not a direct injection one. But I just, anything high performance petrol, I just think it's just common good practice to put in. We'll have a look on the fuel cap. It'll probably say it can run on RON 95. Let's have a look. It's a bit of a 2 seconds. It's a two-handed job. So yeah, just says unleaded fuel only, and not much else. So you're like, this car can genuinely run on E10 if you want to do RON 95, but I'd rather run it on RON 99 E5 fuel. Just for what miles I do, where I go. I know when Chris had it, he runs all his petrol cars on the E5, and I'm not sure what Simon's been doing, so that's the only thing. I'm going to put the millers through and get it filled up with Tesco's. Yes, Tesco's Momentum 99. It's one of the best you can get. It's a lot cheaper than Shell V-Power. And just a little bit of tip here, guys, nothing to do with the car. Fuel talk here. Premium fuels, right, okay. We know that either E10 for the non-premium stuff, which is your regular, and your E5, which is your premium. But don't always focus on them numbers. You always want the E5, but look at the RON number, okay? Let's take it octane, basically. If you look, some of them, like Costco's one, this is the first time I'm going to call Costco's here, theirs is only 97. It's not far off 95, bearing in mind, E10 standard minimum fuel in this country is RON 95, okay? If you go to like say Costco's, and I think some other mainstream petrol stations is 97. I'm sure BP is, of all places. And then you can get a 90, I've seen a few 98s. They're generally, I think, Essos and Jets and stuff. And then to the top of the line is RON 99. It's the highest you can get, which is Shell V-Power. I think Esso is 99. I'm just trying to think because I only run the ML on this. And believe it or not, Tesco Momentum, it's E5 and it's RON 99, and it's a damn sight cheaper than Shell, and it's a damn sight cheaper than Esso. So I highly recommend get yourself to Tesco and use the RON 99 E5. They call it Momentum, super unleaded, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's some top tips, so I will be running that car on this. So anyways, on to the car. Why have I bought it? Well, it come into me about November, October. I've just released the weekly vlog last week from when this happened, which shows you how far I'm behind. And the alternator went off, hence you can see the warning on the dash. I've just fully charged the battery. See in there, visit, I don't know if that comes up on the screen, visit battery/alternator visit workshop. And I've done a test and it's not charging. It's a 22-year-old car, so yeah, the alternator's gone. But Simon has already got a different car to use, and he didn't want to spend all that money on, so he left it standing. I did a pre-MOT on it. It needs the alternator. It needs a set of rear pads, but only on one side. We need to free off the caliper. We'll go and have a look at that now. I'll just show you. And I'm going to try and record this through and do a separate video to this of some of the work that I do. You can just see this, the brand new discs and pads been getting a bit hot, and the pad itself is getting a bit low. The other side is like brand new, but I've got a set of pads in there. I'm going to try and free the caliper off and stick a set of rear pads in. So I've got those ready to go. There's two arms on these, two bottom arms. Thankfully it's the easier one. The bottom arm on this is absolutely knackered on this side. So I've got a TRW bottom arm coming. I will show you them as and when they get delivered, but I've had to go by other means because they were wanting a fortune for these parts. So I've just getting the numbers off the part suppliers and searched them on eBay and found some NOS, new old stock. Basically just people who've had something sitting there for years. They've never thought of advertising it, and you just, as long as you've got the right number, you put it in and you can find some absolute gold. So what I have got coming is a TRW bottom arm, retail price of over £100, so it's one of the best quality you can get bar Mercedes. Probably is TRW from the factory from Mercedes anyway. So that bottom arm, it needs the alternator done, needs the rear pads done. We're going to do an oil change. The off near side front wheel bearing on these, they're like a roller bearing type. Because they're rear wheel drive, and there's a special torque setting you do on them. You just whip the wheel off, whip the cover off, and you just turn the nut, tiny little percentage, and it gets rid of the free plate. It wouldn't be an MOT fail anyway, but rather than having an advise, I'd rather have a nice clean MOT. So we'll sort the wheel bearing plate out on this side by just simply nipping up a nut, clean the wheel while it's off. Bottom arm at this side, there's two, a front and a rear. Do the arm, sort the back pads, do an oil change, and it's ready to go for an MOT. Slap an MOT on it, get it taxed on the 1st of March before the increase, because it is a little bit more expensive tax. It's not expensive, it's like the 300 quid tax one. So yeah, get it all done. So what I'm going to do now is get it in the garage, and start stripping off, because the main thing, it's undrivable. Well, it is drivable, but it's not charging. So naturally, I've got a full battery on it. It's perfectly, I've charged it up overnight. It's perfectly fine to shunt round the garage, but I most certainly, or local, not like less than a mile, but I most certainly wouldn't be driving it far, because once the battery packs up, runs out of juice, that's it, you're dead in the water. So I want to get this alternator off, see what's involved with it and fit it. Oh, sorry, that's what else I've got coming. I forgot to say, the belt. The belt on this car is naturally, it's a supercharger. I'll go basic, guys. I know a lot of you aren't fully into cars. So a turbo is driven off the exhaust gases, right? This hasn't got a turbo, so I just looked at an exhaust manifold. This is what you call a supercharger. And can you see that pulley there, where my finger is? That one? That spins, and this is just like a massive pump, basically, which compresses air. It's the same job as a turbo, but it's driven off the belt, which is there. And obviously this belt drives the water pump, power steering, air conditioning, alternator, etc., and the supercharger. So I've got, the belt doesn't look great, so I've got a nice new belt coming as well. But they're flipping expensive, because they're like a heavy duty belt, because they run a supercharger, and a supercharger pulls a lot more strain on the belt, so the belts are upgraded. So yeah, do the alternator and do the belt at the same time. Alternators aren't cheap, £200 plus, and it's a 20-year-old car, and I never used the car before it happened, so I don't know what's involved. I'm a little bit concerned it's blown a charge module, or a wire's gone, or it's an electrical fault. So what I'm going to do when I get in the garage is do a quick test with a voltmeter on the alternator and see if there's any charge coming out of it. I already have done a basic test beforehand, but I'm going to do a few more before I strip it down. But anyhow, before going spending hundreds on a part where I'm not 100% sure, I've gone the unusual route of down a second-hand route. But what I have managed to find is a genuine reconditioned Bosch, pretty much like new. I mean, it's been used like new, hopefully non-working alternator, which should be arriving tomorrow, because I simply don't want to be pouring hundreds of pounds into a car and find it's still not charging. Plus we need to spend all the money, which I've been through. So there we go. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pull the car in the garage. I'll release this video as a separate one, as a reveal, a re-reveal of the car. Because remember, I only bought that car for the number plate that was on it. I bought that car completely with my eyes shut. I wasn't interested in the car. I would have quite happily bought it, took the plate off and scrapped it, until I found out it was an absolute little gem. So I ended up getting an absolute little gem of a number plate and an absolute little gem of a car. So yeah, I really am. Could not let this just sit and go to waste or get bodged, and just like kind of like Simon didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, and it was just going to fit all cheap parts, just cheap aftermarket arms and all that stuff, and it would break my heart fitting cheap shite to that car, even if it was just being sold. But yeah, keep it here, and hopefully if I do decide to move it on at any point, again, any of you guys, if you may be interested in this kind of thing, let us know. It technically isn't for sale, but as you all know, contact us directly, either via Facebook on the Messenger, or my phone number is down below in the description. Give us a call, drop a text. It is just a pay-as-you-go phone. So if it is something you're interested in, a 200 brake horsepower, supercharged, rear-wheel drive, automatic, lovely little cruiser, it's perfect in my opinion. And it's what do you call it? ULEZ compliant. It's Euro 4 petrol, so it's compliant to all the clean air zones as well. So that's all good. So yeah, you can't really ask for much more. 2 keys, Tiptronic automatic. Lovely sound system in it and everything. So yeah, it's a great little car. Like I said, full glass panoramic roof, comes right down to the back. Can't really ask for much more. So like I've said, if any of you guys are interested in something, let us know, and I'm always willing to help somebody out. I don't want to make money on the car in particular. I would rather keep it. At the same time, I won't lose money, but sometimes if it means helping somebody out and I break even, I'm not in any of this to make money. This is not a money-making channel. Half the cars I get rid of them at a break-even price, just so I can move on to the next and the next and the next. Because to try and sell cars for profits, you've got advertisement retail prices, people expect a new car, and I would sooner just improve on a car, have a bit of fun with it, let it go. As long as I get my money back, move on to the next one. And that's kind of how I work this channel. Hence, by now, after 2-3 years, when I'm up the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and McLarens, we're just still on 20-odd-year-old Mercedes. One debate I want to just put to bed at the end of this video. I put this car on a few groups over the weekend, and in case some of you don't know what the Festival of the Unexceptional is, it's really one of the biggest shows of the year, and it's great. And what it's about is just your everyday type of cars that you don't see anymore, a little bit different or unusual. Like, a lot of people are saying it's the unexceptional part, like it's got to be the Billy Basic model, but sometimes to me that's more kind of like you can't always find a bottom of the range car, but I think it's something that's not high value. This car is not high value. Now, I've got a lot of nasty comments about it over the weekend, which I wasn't really happy about. As you know, I've got my ZX. That's Festival of the Exceptional kind of car all day long. But if I didn't want to enter my car and drive down, I would rather have the air conditioning in power steering and cruise control over not, which the ZX has none of. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's horrible. What is it? Cars like this spoil the show. It's too new. Too new. It's 22 years old. And it's not C230, C320 V6 AMG. It's just a 1.8. And the fact of it being unexceptional, I think, is these cars were very, very unappreciated from new. Hence, there's not many of them left around. They're all rusted to death. And I personally think, if that's really exceptional, and I see the 22-year-old Mercedes sports coupe, again, the sports coupes were never that common. There were all the kind of hatchbacks, what do you call it, the estates and the saloons and the CLKs. Now, I would say a CLK wouldn't fit in there, but this is just an everyday poor man's C-class. It's nothing more. It hasn't even got heated seats. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's got a few nice specs and stuff, but it's the fact it's a 22-year-old Mercedes with absolutely no rust, but at the same time, it's unexceptional. And I do think it's unexceptional because it's not worth a lot of money. It's not highly recognised. It hasn't got a huge following. So to me, I don't get what the issue is about a 22-year-old car like this, a 1.8. It's got 120-odd thousand mile. It's not like it's got 20,000 mile and it's some collector's car. It's an everyday car. I think it is unexceptional, and a lot of people of this Festival of the Exceptional are like, oh, it's got to be 1997, it's got to be, like 50 years old. I'm 35. A 22-year-old car to me is something I can relate to. When I was just a kid, these cars, some of the earlier ones, in 1999, when they first come out, I couldn't even drive. I didn't pass my test till 2006. So a 2002 car to me is something that I was looking at before I could drive in magazines and going, oh, look at this. When I passed my test, I'd love to have things like this. So I think a lot of people on these groups with classic cars and classic car shows, I think a lot of the older generation need to wind their neck in a little bit when it comes to these car shows. Yes, you cannot bring a 5-year-old car. Yes, you cannot bring a 50, 60,000 pound older car. But to these, and I think a lot of the younger generation are put off a lot of this. I am part of the, well, I'm not that young anymore, but I try to convince a lot of my friends and family members to come along to shows, and they go, they're all just full of snobs, and like full of, and do you know what it is? They're kind of right, because a lot of people are so offensive. Like, when I put this car on there, they're like, excuse the language, guys, if kids are watching, shit like this, referring to my car, calling it shit like this, spoil the show, and stuff like that. It's like, hold on. If they're meant to be kind of car meets, as long as somebody's not being ridiculous, I don't get it. Like, to a 30-year-old, a 20-year-old car is old. To a 20-year-old, a 20-year-old car is as old as them. So, we've got to move with the times. I get it, not brand new cars, but when a 22-year-old car is classed as too new and full of shit like that, I don't know. I just think, so to be honest, what's your thoughts of taking that to the Festival of the Unexceptional? After those comments, I can't be bothered, and to be honest, I ain't going to spoil my time at the show having somebody coming up making negative comments and tell them where to go, basically, and it'll spoil my day. Mark had that quite a bit on when I went to the NEC with the XC90. If you remember, there was a newish BMW next to it, and a lot of people made a lot of comments about that, and I think Mark was getting sick of it, and it just spoils your time. You can brush it off, but yeah, so let us know what you think. Is a 22-year-old, 1.8, 120-odd thousand mile, low-value Mercedes not unexceptional enough for people these days? I don't know, but I couldn't be bothered, so I deleted it off. I've got enough things going on in my private life at the moment. I ain't going to be fighting on with keyboard warriors for hours and hours and hours. And I was actually out with my daughter at Newcastle, so I just hit the delete. I didn't want to react to it because I couldn't be bothered. But I just do find some people are so offensive and nasty towards other people for no given reason. It's like me walking into a show and making a comment about his car and saying it's shit and it's too old and it's boring and I'm 30 years old and I can't relate to it. It's not nice. The younger generation don't go doing that. I'm quite happy to walk around a show full of cars older than me and have respect because the people who have them and are looking at them can relate to them. But I do find those people, generally in their 50s, 60s and 70s, with these older cars, they turn around and call all this stuff new modern crap, but it's no respect to the younger generation, what we call older cars. You know what I mean? We don't walk around looking at their cars going, don't know what it is. There's a few of them I'll walk by and go, guys, I'll genuinely tell you, no idea what it is, but it looks cool. Don't know what that is, but I'll still go and look at them. So, rant over, but yeah, what's your thoughts of the Festival of the Unexceptional? I've already made my mind up. I wouldn't even take it now anyways. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember about hitting the subscribe. Please, it really helps. Hit the subscribe button, guys. I've noticed my subscribers go up a little bit the last few weeks. It's really helped. Thank you very much, whoever's done that. Again, the comments below all helps, and please hit the like. It doesn't take 2 seconds. If you've enjoyed it and you're watching until the end, you may as well just hit the like. And a few other people have made some donations. Kit, somebody else just did the other day. I'll update that when I do the work on this car. But yeah, thank you all. The link's below. Buy me a coffee. Super thanks, all that helps a million. So yeah, I'm going to now go and start stripping it down, and I'll get back to you when we have it stripped and as and when all the other little jobs go around before I MOT it. So thanks for watching, catch you all soon.